as Dash of Dave. He'll take some scraps and bits of this, turn them into something you can't miss. Junk journals, tapes, and crafts galore. He'll have you begging, show me more. Oh, Dash of Dave, oh, what a sight. Mixing colors, day and night.
Hi everyone, it's Dash of Dave here again, and I'm back for another crafty video. So today we are going to make some glassine. So, excuse my fingers by the way, I've just come out of one video and into another. So, I'm going to make some glassine. So this is some that I had made earlier, previously. So as you can see, it's transparent, it behaves like glassine, doesn't smell the same, and it's, you know, it's just, if you've got access to glassine, great. If you don't, this is just a great make. I've made it millions of times before, a few times before, but we're going to make some more today. So I'm going to make it quite a bit of it because I've completely run out now. So what I use is I use some greaseproof paper. Now this just happens to be off a loaf of bread. So this is it was off a Warburton's loaf of bread, but it's just nice and it's free. It's free wax paper. So greaseproof paper, whatever you prefer to call it. So you can use oven liners, anything that's non-stick. You can use a silicone mat, whatever, but this is what I'm going to use today. I'm going to make some with tissue paper and, with napkin paper, and some with dressmaking tissue. So I've got a couple of different styles of dressmaking tissue. This is the really thin one that's quite transparent anyway, which makes a really nice transparency. So the more transparent it is to start with, the more transparent it will be when it's finished. So you just have to be careful because it can get quite thin and terry while it's wet. So I am going to do it in a various different ways. So I've got some Mod Podge here. So this is watered down with approximately 2/3 Mod Podge and 1/3 water. But what you want is like single cream consistency. So that one is the Mod Podge with a bit of Vintage Photo re-anchor in there, so you can see it's kind of a beigey colour. And this one is just Mod Podge that's been watered down. This one's a bit thicker. It's been watered down and no colour added. So because this is quite dark anyway, I'm going to use this one for this. This might be a bit thick. I might need to water this down. I will see. So what I do first is I just put a little bit, not a lot, just on the sheet itself, and that way then that helps that stick in place while you cover the rest of it, and that way then it doesn't move around on the page. So what you want to do is you just want to cover it in a layer of the watered down Mod Podge. Oh, that's just fallen from the sky. Well, it's not from the sky, but from that shelf up there where I got all the rest of this from. I don't eat this type of bread anymore. So anytime somebody says, oh, you know, I've got to nip out, at work, you know, if they're nipping out and they're buying and they come back with the Warburtons, I say, can I have your paper please? And they look at me a bit odd. But no more odd than they normally do. So yes, they're kind of used to me now, so I collect all the envelopes from work, and it's one of those things, you know. If anybody knows Junk Journaler, then they know what we're like, don't they? So if you know people that aren't Junk Journalers, you know what they know what we're like, don't they? Oh, shut up, David. I can't work out what I'm trying to say. So the more you put on, the better it'll be. Now, the reason why I say I'm not sure whether this is watered down enough is you want it quite watery, because it's the water that wets the tissue that makes it translucent. So you want it to be fairly watery. The watery, the better, really, because you're still not, well, you don't want it to be too watery. but you want it to be wet so that it wets the fibres and makes it translucent. So you know when you make paper wet, it goes a bit more translucent. So I've put a layer on already, so I don't know how effective this will be. But what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to do this video and then come back with the results at a later date. So that's why I'm planning, that's why I'm prepping this all today, and then when it's all dry I can come back to you. So that's that one. I shall leave that be there. Also we have to find somewhere for those to dry. For now that can just go there. So I shall do this piece. Again, I need another piece of another big piece. I don't mind that it's got a bit of something else already on there, because at the end of the day it'll pick up that colour and it'll make it more interesting. So I'm just going to stick my mat together, actually, if I can get this to stick to it, because it is non-stick. So this is a Halloween one because it says Warburton's, and it's got a thing on. What's that? A pumpkin. It's got a pumpkin on it. There you go. So when you're doing it, you should put the, so there's like sometimes like a shiny surface like this has. You should put the shiny surface face down and use the open surface, the surface that isn't sealed with anything. So again, just a little bit on there, so that when you put this down, it all just stays in place, and then you can go over it with this. So yeah, the watery, more water in it the better, because but you don't want to go too watery. So you want it to still be effective at gluing it, because you want the glue to dry and you want it to make that kind of pliable, transparent finish. So you can tell that this is kind of gone see-through because you can see the marks that were on the tissue behind now. So because I've left the ink on it, you can't really tell if you're doing it on a white background whether it's gone translucent or not, unless you've got something on the mat. So that's my excuse for not cleaning my mats. Well, it's not, but it'll do for now. My excuse is I can't be bothered. There's more to life. Like one of the UK TV chefs once said, there's more to life than peeling a mushroom. So it was Delia Smith, I think, that said that. So because people in the UK used to peel their mushrooms, I don't know why. We just wash them now. So I don't know, peeled mushrooms. Who's got time for that? So that's that. Again, we're just going to put that over there. I might have to stack them for the time being, but luckily, because they are, both sides are thingy. Both sides are thingy. Yes, you know what I mean. Probably not. Both sides are non-stick, waxproof, no, waterproof, wax paper. Shut up, Dave. So which side is shinier? I'm going to try that way. So I might, do I want to use something? No, I'm going to use this. I shall use the vintage photo one on the napkins. But you want it to kind of be wet, like I say, because that's what makes it nice and transparent. But you don't want to get it too wet, otherwise it'll just all fall apart. It'll just, as you're brushing it, it'll just tear itself open. A blob of glue there, after that. Don't worry, I know it looks like it's stuck to the mat, but it will come off. Don't worry about that. It's only temporarily stuck on there, so that's that. And then let's do some napkins. So I will do, let's do this napkin, because I really want to use this napkin, or I want to use the napkin in a translucent state. And cut the butterflies out so they're nice and, like I say, translucent. So that's the 2 back layers off. We're going to lie it down there. So again, I just want just a dribble of this. We don't need it wet. Just a dribble on it. And just enough to kind of stretch it out and hold it in place. Like that. Cool. Because if you try and do that when it's wet, it will just all tear apart. This one I will just tear a piece of this off and do that over here. This is the interlayer, so that's the layer between the back and the front. Has got a little bit of a pattern on it, and I want to see if that'll... It's where the ink bleeds through. I want to see if I can get that to pick up. Okay, let me get a piece of... I thought it was going to come apart, but it's not. Is that where my tape ends? It does. Of course, it's not going to tear properly, is it? There we go. Just pull it apart now. It's just got like a very faint butterfly look to it, so I'm going to just cut it down a bit. Those scissors need oiling, they've got a slight squeak to them. That's going to go on there. I have to cut it down a little bit more. Let's cut it down to that actual square. Might be able to have it a bit longer. No, we're not going to be able to get it longer, so you might not see anything once it's actually wet and dried. Wet and dry. Do I want this one to have a slight... Yeah, I think I'm going to use some vintage photo in this one. So that's fairly runny. Put a tiny bit more of that in there. Shake that up a bit. I might put a bit more water in that actually. Don't want it too watery. Yeah, that's better. So again, you just have to be very careful now because this is tissue and this will rip. Now I know a lot of you have seen me do this before. Technique doesn't really change. There are ways to make individual pieces. So I might show you that with that piece of bread paper that fell down. To make individual pieces that are separate, like you can make them as like little embellishments, toppers to things, but I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So you will get it will go creased. You see how it's wrinkling? That's just the water that's the effect of the water on it. So remember, if you're going to go over anywhere, you have to be very careful now. This is all very wet now. And you could just tear it. The reason I'm putting this on with a bit of colour is because the paper is very white, and I find that the napkin is very white. I find that if you're using a white napkin and you're making it into glassine, it doesn't look very, it doesn't look very old, and B, it shows a multitude of sins, whereas the vintage photo colour just helps to hide anything on it, if it's like the unevenness of the glassine, etc. So, like I say, this is just very wet now, so you want to be very careful. So I'm going to make one side a little bit wetter than the other, so if we can see if there's any significant difference, because that's one of the things that people ask me, how wet should I get it? And actually, to be fair, I've never tried to make it overly wet, so this is my opportunity. And that way then I can reassure you or warn you or whatever of the do's and don'ts. So this side, the bottom half is very wet. So again, we're going to use this colour on this one. Just something to hold it down with. Like I said, I'm not sure that you'll be able to see anything on this. It might just look like a pattern on the glassine rather than butterflies. See how it's gone very wet there. Lucky, Dave, that it didn't all fall apart doing that. This brush, luckily, just, oh, you see that's disintegrated there. That's the bit where I'd wetted underneath, and it's left the napkin very wet in that area and just completely weakened it. It's fine, we'll come back to it and it'll be fine. So this one I won't bother wetting underneath. I shall just hold it at one end and brush away from myself, and then let go of that. If your hands are sticky, you can end up getting stuck to it, but so that's that. So okay, let's just put that on there and then move this out of the way. Not going to be able to be in my craft room for a while for the next few days because there's going to be nowhere to be. Don't know where to put that actually. Just stay there temporarily. It might drip off onto the floor, but hey, that'll do. So what I was going to say is you can make like little cameos. This has got a bit of something on there, but we're not going to worry about that. So you can, let's get some more tissue. Napkin paper on in. So take the surface of this. No, I need the aid of some tape this time. I hate tape. Why is it like this? Okay. So I'm going to just take a shape out that I want. I would if I could find my little water brush. So I think I'm going to go for, yeah, I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to have to go round some of the rest of it. I should be able to take that out of the middle. There. Okay, cool. I'll use that, don't worry. Do you think I might have overestimated the, underestimated the size of that? Hang on, just bear with me a second. Here we go, we've got some other greaseproof paper. So, this is what I mean. So, if we just do this again, we just wet it. Once it's all wet, if you then come back in with the brush and you just scoop the edges up, so you want to kind of just flip some of it so it folds over. You want it to have like a bit of a natural edge to it, so you don't, well, I mean, you certainly can have it so it's straight around the edge, but I like a bit of a wibbly wobbly edge. And you just want to kind of paste it down on itself. You might need a little bit more of this just on the edge, just to kind of paste it down. Once you've flipped it, you just want to, and what you're doing is you're framing your butterfly with a bit of an organic edge. And then what this will do is it'll dry with a much more solid edge to it, which means that it's so much easier to peel up. So once you've done that, you just want to tamp it all down to make sure it's all, you know, if you've got bits that's sticking out you don't like, you can just flip them over and tamp it down. Just tamp it down, and it gives you a much more solid edge for when you're peeling it off. And also then you can stick it down as like a cameo piece. Not a cameo. Cameo is not what I'm trying to say. Can't actually think of what I'm trying to say, but you'll see when it dries. So there you go. So you want a bit of a quite an organic sort of shape to it. So and then just tamp all of that down, like I say. So you're just making that lamination on the edge. And then we'll leave that to dry. So I will see you in the next part of the video. So you won't be going anywhere. You'll just be continue watching, and I will just have spent a few days waiting for all this to dry so I can get back in my craft room. So there we go. Okay, so it's been a few days now, so I was intending to come back to it like later that day, but things got away from me. So it's been a couple of days and we're back. So much warmer day today, so I don't have a long sleeve shirt on, so continuity is all over the place. Anyway, you didn't come here for the continuity, you came here for the craft. So these are all now dry, so what we're going to do is we're going to peel them and see how they've turned out. Okay, so they never, I will just warn you, they never look great when they're still on the mat that you've done them on, whether it be some bread paper or some parchment paper, non-stick paper, greaseproof paper. They never looks great on there. It's only when you peel it off that you kind of get an idea of how it's going to look. So we're going to peel. So as you can see, they're all still on the thing, and I haven't been tempted to peel it off. You do need to be a little bit careful because it is still paper and it's still going to be, you know, fragile. So you just want to make sure that, so if you've got like here, you can see that there's a slight rip in it. If I start pulling, that's going to start ripping away. So you just need to like re-lift it. Just like, you know, it's like when you're peeling wallpaper. So, and we're just going to peel it all off and see what we've got. So remember, it's glued, so it's going to be, it might be glued down. There's like a little hole there that started to appear. So if you don't want a hole, just you know, there's another one there. You have to just be careful as you're peeling it off. So don't go ripping it off. Don't rip it off like, you know, like a band-aid, as most of my viewers would say, but like a plaster, like I would say. So we call them plasters, you call them band-aids. So you say potato, I say potato. So just gonna keep peeling it off every bit that gets left behind. Never leave anyone behind. That's the first rule. So, and what happens in craft stays in craft. They're the rules of the place here. So if you have done it on some greaseproof paper that's flat, you probably won't get so many bits that just want to stay left behind. It's quite fragile, so you just bear that in mind. Sometimes it's easier to peel the back away from the front, but that doesn't always work either. Let's try that. If yours is flat, it might peel quite well, but because mine's all creased, it might not. Well, it seems to be doing a better job. Maybe that's the right thing. Maybe I should just listen to what everybody else says. Just don't get too, you know, full of your own self-importance, because it'll all go wrong. So. You know, start tearing it off and it'll all tear. Oh yeah, that does work better. All right, I bow to your knowledge. There we go. So that's that piece. Now, of course, I'll keep those pieces, because they can be used again for many other things, and the same again. So that's my first piece, and see how transparent that has gone. That is really glassine-like, and it's also got crinkleability. Crinkleability, like that's a word, Dave. So this piece should peel off better because it's not quite as thin. Oh, that's left the bread packet behind now. I've ripped that instead. There we go. Oh, that's another piece. Let's get rid of that. I know you all want to see the glassine. I know. I'm just trying ideas ago. Oh, that's the other thing you might have noticed, the continuity change. The place is tidy. It's because I've tidied my desk up. So then this is the other piece. Again, nice crinkleability. So it has that feeling of glassine, and it's gone nice and translucent. So it's shiny on one side and matte on the other. It's got another piece here. See, this is when you start getting a bit brazen and you just do it, and then it wrecks it. So like that, just pulled the bread bag off. There you go. That's another piece. Hold those up. Seems to be being tidy as I go. There we go. Shiny on one side, matte on the other. So nice and crinkly. Lovely. We love it. Okay, so then we're on to these. So this is that one that I showed you how to make a nice little I've called it a cameo, but it's not really a cameo, but a little focal point. So because you've made a nice thicker edge, you should be able to peel it up fairly easily. This is another one where you probably should be peeling the back away so that you don't curl it up. Peel that away. And there you go, that's what you've got from this. So you've got a nice transparent piece. I'll try and put it on something so you can see the transparency of it. Let's use this piece of paper. So you can see this through it. See how transparent it is, but you've made a nice little focal point. They're really lovely to put on things. And then we'll get these pieces off. Maybe start with the big piece. Let's do the big piece. Let's do this first. So this is the napkin. So the napkins are great because they start off being, you know, very opaque because they're white fibers and you know, you think, oh, that's never going to go transparent. I mean, like, it does go transparent because we put it on decoupage and it kind of goes transparent. And this is decoupage, but where you're pulling the substrate off. So, and then you can use these for nice little transparencies on things to just sit over some nice text where you're not obliterating the text. Or you can turn it into a glassine bag, or, you know, a little window for a pocket, or... So don't be limited by the fact that you, oh, I don't have any of that nice glassine, you can make it. Now look how that has gone. That is delicious, isn't it? There you go, you see, look, you can fully see the colours, and like, so you'd be able to see the text behind. So how wonderful has that gone? And remember that this is just one style of napkin. I've done loads of other ones before. Let's peel these bits off. So this was just another bit of napkin I've got. Let's start from this corner. So this is a piece of like beige coloured napkin, I think it was. That's that piece. Oh, that's those two pieces glued together. Let's do this one as well now then. And this was the interface between the two bits of napkin. You know, the one that got a slight image on it. You can't really see that image, I'll be very honest. Do I have any white card? Of course I do, it's down here. You've tied it up, Dave, that's why you've got white card. So you can see just a little trace of an image. That blue has come off the bread bag. So, yeah, so I'll have to get that off at some point. Can I get it off now? No, it's kind of, it's part and parcel. They're symbiotic. They have a symbiotic relationship now. So, yeah, that's staying there. So yeah, so that's a very faint image of a butterfly there. But even so, you know, let's get rid of that piece because we'll probably be honest. Let's be honest, we're not going to use it. We can make that into a nice window on a envelope. So there we go. So how beautiful these have turned out. So make some glassine, do it. So this is my version of glassine. Lots of people have other versions. You know, some people want the more authentic feel to it. It's not like, and I know the other criticism of Mod Podge is it doesn't always completely dry out. This is completely dry. There is no tackiness about this. It's not tacky at all. It's not sticking to each other or me or itself, or so if I fold it over and press it down, it doesn't stick to itself. So it's not tacky in any way. It's because it's very watered down. Other people, you know, prefer to do it with chemicals, etc. I'm just not a big chemical person. So anyway, there you go. So that is my glassine. So I hope you'll give that a try. If you do, don't forget to let me know. If you've liked this video, or it's been helpful, or you think somebody else might like it, then give it a like, because that tells me so. Don't forget to like, comment and share. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. And don't forget, my name is Dash of Dave, and I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So you know what? Don't give me a reason not to. All right then, folks. Love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Lots of hugs. And I'll see you very soon. Take care, folks. See you soon. Bye. Bye.